Last week, we meditated on Jesus reading from Isaiah chapter 61, verses 1 and 2. We looked at the we looked at the reading in which we said Jesus proclaimed the year of God's favor. Jesus' mission statement was given in that reading. Jesus' mission statement. 5 things very quickly. He came to proclaim the good news to the poor. He came to release the captives. He came to open the sight of the blind. He came to give freedom to the oppressed and fight. He came to proclaim the year of God's favor. Whatever is mentioned in Isaiah chapter 61, verses 1 and 2, Jesus read, and at the end of the reading, he said, today in your hearing, this is fulfilled. So that was what we did, what we meditated last week, the reading of the scripture. And today we are going to meditate on Jesus preaching from that passage, Jesus meditation or Jesus sermon from that reading. Now, when Jesus proclaimed the year of Lord's favor, we knew that the grace has come. And we talked about grace upon grace, abundant grace. That's what we talked last week. But that grace that we are talking has come to us freely, but it is not cheap grace. That is not cheap grace. You know, we misunderstand this grace which has come to us because it is freely given. We think that we can take it lightly. In fact, Jesus omitted a particular sentence from Isaiah chapter 61. I want to read that verse. In fact, I want to read the 2 sentences. Jesus came to proclaim the year of God's favor and the day of vengeance of our God. The day of vengeance of our God. Jesus omitted that particular statement. He only said, I have come to proclaim the year of God's favor. Why did he omit the vengeance of our God? Why? Because Jesus came to proclaim grace, proclaim God's grace. Jesus has not come to proclaim punishment. But for punishment, he took it on himself so that we can have that grace. We can have this grace to us abundantly. So he has not come to proclaim the vengeance of our God, that he took upon himself so that we can have this free grace. So grace has not brought to us cheaply, but it brought to us with a price. Dietrich Bonhoeffer, who was a pastor in Hitler's regime in Germany, he had to go through a difficult time. He was arrested and he had to die for the faith that he has in Jesus. He died in Hitler's regime. He talked about costly grace. He also talked about cheap grace. He says we cannot be content with cheap grace. Cheap grace means grace without discipleship, grace without cross, grace without living a godly life, forgiveness without repenting. These are all cheap grace. In the church, we normally happy with whatever is happening, and then we go and forget everything in the world. But that's cheap grace. Dietrich Bonhoeffer says that we need to move on. We have to have costly grace. Costly grace is like treasure trove. You have to go and hid and find the treasure that is hidden. You cannot take the grace lightly. You pursue the treasure trove. It is full of discipline, full of hard work. The grace is given so that you go and find treasure that is hidden in Jesus. It is costly grace, full of cross, full of disciplines. So Jesus is giving us this grace so that we will sincerely follow him. We will sincerely grow in him. Now we need to remember that this grace can only be given free. It cannot be given with a price. The grace that we have received cannot be given with a price. If it is given with a price, we may not be able to purchase it. But whatever price is meant for this grace, Jesus paid it all on his cross. It is given so that we can become good disciples of Jesus. We can become disciples of Jesus. After Jesus' death, Isaiah chapter 61 verses 1 and 2, he sat down. He sat down in front of his whole crowd. And after he sat down, everybody was looking at him. And as they were looking at him, he said, "Today, in your hearing, the scripture is fulfilled." What Jesus said is very beautiful. He said, "Today." Why today? It is all because people have been waiting for this occasion. 400 years of dark period now come to an end. Today. Yes, Malachi was the last prophet in the Old Testament, and the next prophet was John the Baptist, and now Jesus has come. 400 years of waiting has come to an end. In Jesus, the waiting has come to an end. No more need to wait. Today, it is fulfilled. And in Jesus, a new life begins. In Jesus, everyone receives grace. In Jesus, new creation started. Today, it is fulfilled. In other words, Jesus brings all their attention on him. In him, everything is fulfilled. The focus should be on Jesus. The wait is over, the new life begins. The people, his whole crowd, thought that it's awesome. They were very much impressed with Jesus' gracious words. They were amazed at him. You know, everybody was astonished, everybody was amazed. But it did not last for long. Immediately, their minds changed. Is he not the son of Joseph? This has got a lot of meaning. They know his birth. So probably that's the reason they say that, oh, is he not Joseph's son? We know this child was born out of wedlock. Probably they are also talking about he is a poor man, a carpenter's son. He is talking about giving freedom to the oppressed, giving good news to the poor. How can that be possible? Within no time, they changed their position. Jesus came voluntarily to them. Jesus presented himself to them freely. But people have taken it differently. People have, in fact, rejected him. They took offense of him. He is a generous gift from God to us, and he has come to us voluntarily, freely. When something comes freely, voluntarily, we have a problem, isn't it? But he cannot be given any other way except freely. He cannot be given any other way except voluntarily. And that's how he came to his own crowd. A man volunteered, stood up and spoke and read. People are rejecting. He came on his own, but his own rejected him. I remember my time as a missionary. You know, when We started our missionary journey. We go from village to village, teach the gospel. People look at uh, uh, look at us differently. Why these young people come to us? Why? And they also ask several questions. What is the motive? Why you have to come to us? You all can get a good job and go in life. Why? When it is given free, people take it lightly. As a reason, whenever we distribute gospel tracts, when we distribute Bibles, New Testament, our missionaries, they keep saying, sell it. Sell it for 5 rupees, sell it for 10 rupees. Then they know the value of the book. But we always debate, no, you have to give it free. Gospel comes to us free. No other way it can come because the price is already paid. How do you give a price to it? And I still remember when I just started my missionary work in Gujarat, I was very young. I was all alone in my room. Policemen came. They wanted to ask several questions. Why you are here? Why you have to go and do this work? The two policemen, they talked with each other and said, look, these people have got hidden agenda. They get money from somewhere and they want to make their own group here so that they can have political influence on this place. They were talking to each other. But no, the gospel comes to us freely. It doesn't mean that we can ignore it. It's no other way the gospel can come to us. Only it can come free. Jesus came on its own, voluntarily to his people. The people could not understand the message. Now Jesus continued. He is a prophet. And he gave a prophetic message. People are now objecting to him, taking offense of him. So he continued. And he further exposed their position. Jesus, at this time, talked about two important examples. Before we come to those examples, we have to remember what these people are thinking. Jesus purposely skipped these words, the vengeance of our God. He skipped it. People are happy. People are happy it is all because God sends his Messiah to redeem us from our oppression. We are now under the rule of the Roman Empire. We are under the oppression. God sends his Messiah to redeem us. But for our enemies, God's vengeance is kept. God is going to punish our enemies. God is going to wipe away Gentiles. That is their understanding. Jesus is now bringing two examples, which is contrary to their understanding. What are all those two examples? Jesus talked about the widow at Zarephath in Sidon. The widow and her son was to eat the last bread and dine. Elijah gave, and we know the story, the time of great famine, 3.5 years of no rain. And Elijah said, bring the bread to me, and she brought, and she, her son, and Elijah lived through the famine. It's narrative. This particular lady, the widow, is a Gentile. God took care of her during that difficult period. She was blessed by Elijah, and Elijah was blessed by this lady. That's how God took care of the three people. Gentile received God's grace. People could not accept it. And Jesus went ahead and talked about another example. Naaman, the prime minister of Syria, who was a Gentile, the enemy nation of Israel. He came to Israel, there to the ministry of Elisha, he was healed from his leprosy. There were many other lepers among Israel, but God healed Naaman, which is again a Gentile, and God's grace extended to them. When this they hear, they were very furious. Very interestingly, Luke puts these two people, a woman and a man. God's grace is equally available irrespective of genders. God's grace is available to all nations, all people groups, male or female, rich or poor, free or slave, Jew or Gentile. God's grace is available to all. That's the message. That's the prophetic message Jesus brought to his home crowd. But crowd again became very furious, and they took him out of the synagogue, took him to the brow of the hill, and they wanted to push him down so that he will fall on the cliff and die. In fact, one particular scholar said, they did not have that kind of cliff. They thought of pushing Jesus down so that he would roll down to the bottom of the hill. There they could go up the stone and kill him. That much they were furious, because Jesus said that God's grace is not only for you, but it is also for the Gentiles. The home crowd was furious. Now, when we receive this grace, we need to remember that this grace is not only for us, it is for all. Again, in my missionary career, we always come up with this plan. If we are baptized, then only we are going to give place in our house, place in our school. It's a very difficult one. Of course, we have to somehow restrict the number. We don't have a lot of seats in our hostel, a lot of seats in our school. But we came up with that rule. We had to ask this question: should we come up with this rule? God's grace is given to all. It is freely received and freely given. That's the position we all need to be taking. He paid it all, and we have received it freely, and it should go freely to people. To finish with this illustration, Charles Spurgeon and Joseph Parker both were great preachers, and both had churches in the city of London. Both of them having a good number of people coming to their churches. Once, Joseph Parker, in his preaching, criticized Charles Spurgeon's orphanage. He talked about the poor condition of the children in his orphanage. So the following Sundays, Charles Spurgeon took it and lost it, Joseph Parker, and he criticized him heavily. This was reported in the news, and it was a big talk during the week, because everybody was talking how both of them talked, how both of them criticized each other, and it was a talk of the town. So the following Sunday, everybody came to Joseph Parker's church to listen to him, how much he is going to attack Charles Spurgeon. Joseph Parker, on that day, he said, "Today I know that my friend Charles Spurgeon is not on his pulpit, so let's do one thing. We will collect opportunity for his orphanage. He's not there in his pulpit, that means no opportunity to collect for his orphanage. Let's collect opportunity for his orphanage." So they had to collect. People were enthusiastic. They had to, clear their opportunity bags 4 times, because they received a lot of for the orphanage of Charles Spurgeon, and everything was handled over to Charles Spurgeon. And during that week, Joseph Parker was sitting in his house reading. There was a knock at his door, and he opened. Charles Spurgeon walked in, and he very beautifully said, "You have given not what I deserve, but you have given what I need. You have given not what I deserve, you have given me what I need." That's grace. We don't deserve anything. We deserve only punishment, but we are in need of grace, and that grace is given to us plenteously. As we started this year, we said this words: be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened or dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. Focus is moving forward. Don't stuck. Grace is given to us plenteously, and it is free for all. Take the grace and move forward in your life. God will bless you. God bless us all.